Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Belmont Park here on Sunday. It is the 7th of May, 2023. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from Belmont, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the stakes action from Belmont, races 3 and 9, some good ones here. Third race, it is the Beaugay Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a $175,000 purse. Race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 8 horses going to the Widener Turf Course. The distance of ground here, 1,700 meters, if you want to go by that, with a distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16 on the Belmont Widener Turf Course. 1 mile 1/16 here in the Beaugay. And to show the diagram, just gives me a second to go through my notes. Just bear with me. I've gone through I've gone through 2 of these notepads in the last 2 weeks. It's been quite incredible with all these notes, and it's all just jibber jabber of all these horses. I have to remember what to say, but it's gonna probably go through another one for Preakness weekend coming up, and for Belmont Stakes weekend, I might have to buy a force for all the notebooks I'm gonna have to use. But with that being said, my top selection here in the Beaugay, I'm going to go with the number 8 horse here, who is, surprisingly, I'm going to go 8432 in the superfecta, 8432 super, top selection 8 horse, surprisingly, 4-year-old filly by Mastery here. Shug McGay, he trains. Junior Alvarado gets to mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 11th of March at Tampa, a mile and 8th in the grade 2 Hillsborough Stakes, and he finished 3rd by 1.5 lengths that day. He just kind of stalked all the way around the race course. He had a decent turn of foot, but he got beat by a better filly on the day. Chantisara really freaked that day. But this horse, she ran her heart out. Refreshing here to Belmont, making the Belmont turf debut. Shouldn't be a problem. She could be forwardly paced, see a quick pace in front, and I think she could win here. Opposed to the inner turf course that plays towards speed, the Widener turf course can play towards a horse that's coming off the pace. It's not as biased. I think the most biased turf course we see in the country right now is that turf course at Churchill, which is if you're not on the front end, you're not winning. You can have the slowest horse and still going to win on that turf course. That's for another day. Most recently, before the Hillsborough, she ran again at Tampa, mile 16th in the Endeavor Stakes. And she won by a neck that day, and coming from nowhere, she sat back early, moved up wide late, she quickened up, and, she got the job done. Not the moving wide late, but she took off clear late. That was a very good run. Coming home with an 88 buyer. And then prior to that, the Tropical Park Oaks at Gulfstream, 26th of December, mile 16th off the turf on the Tapeta. She finished 2nd by a length that day. She sat back early. Again, she was closing up well late. She just missed, but again, nothing bad about that race. And then the Virginia Oaks at Colonial, mile and 8th inner turf course, 6th of September. She finished 7th by 5 lengths that day. Had a very troubled trip, which probably cost her. And then before that at Ellis, mile 16th and off 75, winning by 3 1/4 lengths, coming from the back of the pack. A very clear victory, coming on with a very strong 86 buyer. Coming here to Belmont, training well. At 7-2, I think she's loaded. I think your second likeliest winner here is the 4-horse, Contemporary Art for Bobby Flay, Christophe Clement, 4-year-old flip by Dubawi. Jose Ortiz gets to mount, most recently on the 26th March at Gulfstream. Mile 16th and optional 25. She won by 3/4 length, and coming from a wide poster, and she came basically from last. The turn of foot she had was electric. 89 buyer off the bench. A very good race for her here for her that day. Prior to that, in the Saratoga Oaks at Saratoga, mile 3/16 on the Melon. She finished 4th by 2 1/4 lengths that day. She set the pace, but then she kind of took nothing away, and it just wasn't her day to win. And then she won here on the inner turf course, going a mile and 8th in the main specialway, won by 4 1/4. I thought that was a very good race. Coming back to Belmont, she could be a little bit forwardly paced if she wants. 9-2, I'm going to use her. But to recount my selection for the third from Belmont now, it's the grade 3 Beaugay. Let's take the 8 horse surprisingly. Give kudos to the 4 horse Contemporary Art. 8432 super. 8-4 in your multi-race. Let's scroll over to the nightcap, the 9th race from Belmont now. It is the license fee stakes. It's going for a $150,000 purse race for fillies, mares, 4-year-olds, and upwards. We have a field of 10 horses going to the Belmont Widener Turf Course, the distance of ground of 1,200 meters, or 6 furlongs on the Widener Turf Course. 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs here. My top selection, we're going to go to the outside to the number 10 horse here, Star Divine. 10-5-8-2 in the superfecta for me. 10-5-8-2 super. Top selection of 10 horse Star Divine. This 5-year-old mare by Fascinate Rock. Jorge Abreu trains. Irad Tees Jr. gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the Giants Causeway at Keeneland. 5.5 furlongs on the 15th of March. And the horse finished 3rd by 1 1/4 lengths. Had a little bit of a wide post. She kind of stalked. She needed something more late, but she ran her heart out. Coming to Belmont here today, 2nd off the bench. She should be a lot fresher. I think she could find the trip to win. 2 back in the autumn days at Aqueduct, good outer turf course, 6 furlongs on the 27th of November, and she won by 1/4 lengths that day. And basically on the front end, she gamed it out. She quickened up nicely, and she got the job done. 96 Buyer. It was a career best for her that day. And then prior to that, in the Buffalo Franklin County Stakes at Keeneland over the 5.5, she finished third by 1/3 lengths behind your eventual British Cup Turf Sprint winner Caravel. Caravel freaked that day. This horse just kind of stalked, and this horse just wasn't catching her that day. And then the ladies sprint at Kentucky Downs over the 6.5. She finished sixth by 4 1/4 lengths that day. And again, she just wasn't handling the quirkiness of Belmont. She ran once here at Belmont on the most recently in the Intercontinental last June over the 6, where she finished second by a length, closing up from nowhere. I thought it was a very good race. I actually backed her that day. Come back here again. 3-1. Let's make her a winner locally. I think your second likeliest winner is the 5-horse Going Good for Manny Franco and Brad Cox. Most recently off the bench on the 14th of April at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs out of turf and optional 80. She won by 1.5 lengths, and basically in the front end, she really took off clear. A very good race for her. Prior to that, in the Mardi Gras Fairgrounds over the 5.5, she finished third by 3 lengths that day. She was very wide on a very narrow turf course, which probably cost her. She just never really got going. And then the Wishing Well at Turfway going 6.5. She finished fourth by 7 lengths. She didn't break so well. She got quarter horse to get good position, which probably cost her. She was just a little winded that day. Coming here back to New York to run here at Belmont for the first time, I'll give her a shot. She's training well also. But to recap my selection for the ninth from Belmont, it is the license fee. Let's take the 10-horse Star Divine. Give kudos to the 5-horse Going Good. 10-5-8-2 Super. 10-5 to end off the multi-race wagers. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.